Family disputes can make us feel isolated and vulnerable. Maybe you're going through a divorce or a legal dispute about your kids. Perhaps you've spent hours on Google or have even posted anonymously on Facebook to see what others have to say. But are you getting the actual information and support that you're looking for? Our podcast, Legal Lounge, aims to dispel misinformation and downright bad legal information to empower anyone with questions about their family, their children, their finances, their marriage, and the law. As a team focused exclusively on family law matters, we aim to help listeners not only with the information they need, but also with the hope that their situation has a solution. Short disclaimer, please note this podcast is for educational purposes only, and the information should not be relied upon as legal advice or for legal purposes. Welcome back to the Legal Lounge. I am so excited to have a dear friend of mine, Tasha, with me today. It's an interesting story because we actually met through a business conference, if you will, but she actually ran into one of my colleagues at a modern legal table, and she reached out to me via email, and I would say within the first couple of emails, I was like, this chick is gonna be good people. So Tasha, thank you so much for joining us in the Legal Lounge today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited about this. I'm trying to compose myself a little bit.
Hold in the excitement.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit more about what you do and where you come from.
Well, I am a charlatan. Original.
You're a unicorn.
I am very much so a unicorn.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. There's not many of us left.
Yeah.
So right now I am in Fort Mill, and I've been there since 2019. Which is not really that much different from Charlotte.
Yeah. No, not especially with how quickly the city's growing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's growing rapidly.
Yeah.
And just last year, I started speaking in Charlotte in Mecklenburg County, going to middle schools and high schools, teaching the 8th and the 9th graders and some upperclassmen about the warning signs of dating abuse.
Wow. That's huge. That's that critical age, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and you have your No Longer Silent nonprofit.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, wow. Now, this story is very unique because this is something that I never thought I would experience. But to make it a short story, I was sleeping good, and I just heard 3 words, no longer silent. And I'm like, and I sat up in my bed, and I normally will always look at my phone to look at the time because I love tracking. Mm-hmm. It was 2:52 in the morning. So I wrote it down on my paper because I always keep a pad and pen by my bed. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, well, Lord, you're going to tell me what this means later, I'm assuming. Well, sure enough, it came by way of a tragedy. Mm. Someone decided that they didn't want to live anymore. Mm. Of course, nobody wants to see something like that. Mm-hmm. That's something that you will only see, in my opinion, in real life. On TV, rather.
Yeah.
Not in real life.
Yeah.
And I was hysterical. I was crying, all day long because it was a young man, and I didn't know him, but I seen him around the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. But for that to happen, I felt sad for his family. Mm-hmm. I felt sad for just young people, period, that goes through mental challenges and feel like they cannot talk about those challenges and decide to do something like that. Yeah. So as I was reflecting and crying, still trying to control, my emotions, but I just had to let it flow, the reflection came back to where I was in my first marriage and how I thought the same thing. Mm. Because it was a dark, dark place for me. And I felt like this is not going to be something that I want to live in for the rest of my life. Let's just do something about this.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful that it did not happen. Yeah. I'm still here.
Yeah.
But that's why the name is No Longer Silent, because I was silent for too long about what I was experiencing.
Yeah.
So that's how it came about.
And it's related to the work you do with our youngins still in school, is really bringing awareness to domestic violence and abuse. Mm-hmm. Tell us more about your story.
Well, I was married 2 times, and I just recently realized why I chose the men that I chose, because I married my father. Mm. And when I said that, I was like, ooh, I married my father because my father, my biological father, he was abusive to my mom and to my sister.
Yeah.
And he tried with me, but it was not successful. However, my sister, she was the victim of being essayed from the age of 8 to maybe the age of 15 or 16.
Yeah.
But I didn't know the story.
Yeah.
I didn't find out really the story until recently, until she published her first, well, actually it's a full ebook
Yeah.
about her life, of what happened. And that just brought back a lot of the things that I had experienced, and I had suppressed it
Yeah.
for a long time. And I'm like, wow, the men that I chose, I married my father.
Yeah. And it took years to even come to that
Years.
realization, right?
Yes, at 33 years, matter of fact.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was like, how does a person even know this
Yeah.
to come to that conclusion that it took 33 years?
Yeah.
Because I went back to a certain date or age rather, and I just counted up, and I'm like, so this is why this happened. This is why this happened.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy how when you actually do the work, you delve into your history, you delve into your own pattern of behavior and the people you associate with, where it's almost like everything becomes 20/20.
Yes.
It clears up.
Yes.
And then from there, you find further direction on where you walk toward now.
Yeah. And that's what happened with me because a friend of mine, she just came to me one day. She said, listen, there's a class that I think that you would really benefit from. And I'm like, okay. And she gave me the information and I signed up immediately. Never heard of this certification, never knew that it existed because when I was going through my first marriage, I was married to him for 11 years, but 10 of those years was the abuse. And I was like, okay. So when I got there the first day, it was like all tears, the entire session with mostly everybody. Still not knowing how I was going to use it because I never talked about me being abused. I didn't tell my mom. I didn't tell my siblings. I didn't say anything because, for one, when my mom got remarried, she married a pastor. So, of course, that I became a PK.
Yeah.
And then even before she remarried, I grew up in church.
Yeah.
That was just my life. So there was a lot of things I wasn't exposed to.
Yeah.
So when I took that class, it just led me into where I am now. But it seemed like something still wasn't clicking because I still was silent. I still was not talking because of the embarrassment, the shame, and the guilt, all that was still attached to it.
Yeah. And there is this, first off, you may think you're alone, especially if you're raised, especially in like a religious environment at times.
Yeah.
And there's the concern that people may not believe you
Right.
for what it's worth and the impact it has on you.
Yes.
And all this comes together to really almost it's like a weight on your chest. And I feel like unless someone has been through it, they don't really understand the weight on their chest.
Right.
And it's not just about getting up and leaving, right? It is, okay, now I have to really push this weight off my chest.
Yes.
Find my voice, find the strength to then speak out.
Yes. For me, in the beginning, that was one of the hardest things that I had to overcome for me as an obstacle was finding my voice. Because I was told for so long and for so many years that I did not have one.
And when you're told for so long, you believe it.
Yes.
Yes. And it's that mental emotional manipulation that becomes reality, even though we hear that we have a voice,
Right.
It's similar to like, when I'm practicing law, when I tell people you have legal rights, you have protections.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, well, I don't know if I can see my kid. And it's like, but you can, you can speak out. You can assert yourself.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need like a friend to help you find that right course or that right direction and have support from the community to do so.
I think it's the fear.
Yeah.
It's the underlying fear of what we don't know that causes us not to say or speak up about certain things.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to deal with growing up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fear.
Yeah.
There's no conversation more romantic than discussing a prenup with your partner, right? Okay, maybe the song for your first dance does a bit more in the romance department.
Speaking of emotions, though, the prenup is a very legal document that everyone has a very emotional reaction to. Many people avoid the prenup conversation because they feel it is an indication that the marriage will fail. But here's the truth. Half of all marriages already fail, regardless of whether the spouses had the prenup conversation or not. If you or someone you care about is getting married, would knowing what marriage involves legally be important? What about having the difficult conversations surrounding finances, career aspirations, and pursuing parenthood prior to the wedding date? If you are looking to build a solid foundation for your marriage, or you want the same for someone you care about, we are here to help you learn more about prenups from a position of knowledge, not emotion. To learn more about family law from a legal professional, book a consultation with a member of the Modern Legal team by visiting our website, emailing us, or calling us at 704-286-6302. Check out the information about Modern Legal services at modernlegalnc.com.
So I know we jumped into that, and thank you so much for sharing all of that.
Yeah.
But I do want to toot Tasha's horn again, because she's not only an amazing woman, a leader, going and teaching kids critical skills, but she's also a TED talker.
Oh,
right?
yes.
So you're like world famous, right?
I guess so. That's still hard for me to. I forget that sometimes.
Oh.
I do. Not intentionally, but
Yeah.
I just never thought I would see myself on the red dot.
Yeah.
Never thought it.
Yeah. So what was your topic? And of course, listeners can Google the TED Talk that you did, but
Yeah.
just give us a brief overview of what it was about.
How I dealt with an absent parent. How I forgave the unforgivable.
Yeah.
Which is basically about my father. Yeah. I didn't go into depths about what he did and who the person that he is. And I just told them how I dealt with it, being a young girl, 8 years old, waiting by the window or waiting in the living room, sitting by the window, waiting for him to come and pick me up, and he never shows up.
Yeah.
And as I became a teenager, I started journaling.
Mm-hmm.
I started journaling about the anger that I grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this goes back to my mom when she remarried. I was 8 years old, and all I remember is that this man who just came into our lives, seemed like he just appeared out of nowhere. I didn't like him because he was not my father.
Mm-hmm.
So that in itself brought me to the place where I was able to stand on the TEDx circle and share how I was able to give a man who mishandled me emotionally and mentally, and how I was able to forgive him, which was not in my own strength, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So it just sharing with people how you can forgive an unforgivable act.
Mm-hmm.
You have to embrace it. You have to become aware first.
Mm-hmm.
You have to admit that along the way, you inherited something that you had no control over.
Mm-hmm.
Once you realize that, the accountability going forward.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
That's huge. And oh man, speaking to my soul, right? Because there's this, sometimes a person may believe, I don't want to be an abusive parent, so I'll be absent, not realizing that the absence itself is a form of abuse, really.
Yeah, it is, because a lot of us, we only think of the physical standpoint from it. That's it. Because that's the most common one. Mm-hmm. But we forget about the emotional, we forget about the verbal, we forget about the financial, we forget about the digital even. Mm-hmm. And now it's spiritual, religious. And with him, when I talked about parental absenteeism and I linked it with the anger, I had to realize too, and honestly, in my talk, I gave him props. And this is how I did it. I acknowledged that he did not have a positive parental role model in his life. Mm-hmm. Something might have happened to him that caused him not to be there or caused him to do what the things that he done. Mm-hmm. So I had to look at it from that perspective. And then once I realized that, I was like, okay, so that's not my fault. That's not my fault. So how do I move on from here? Forgive them. Because if you don't, and you walk around with the unforgiveness, it just eats you up.
Yeah, and that's because that's in you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think sometimes people think forgiveness is about the person you're forgiving, and actually that's not the case.
No.
It's for your own well-being.
Yes. And that, the well-being part, meaning the entire being. The entire being. Your mind, your emotions, your spirit, your body, because I was being affected physically, health-wise, because of the hate that I did not acknowledge, that I tried to pack down and avoid.
Yeah, and suppress.
Yeah.
I resonate with your story because there was a long time there where I was trying to suppress the hate and suppress the frustration and anger. And honestly, it wasn't just at my father who was abusive. In a way, it was also at my mother for keeping us around that for so long. And I didn't even know that was there until like my late 20s. And it's taken 10 years to work through that with therapy, right?
Wow.
And then go one step further. Once I've acknowledged all of that, I also found that I hated myself for loving and still enjoying the moments I had that were good with my father. Because my father was such a bad person that I was like, how could you enjoy a moment or remember a good memory with him? And so then I had to forgive myself and not hate myself for saying, hey, you can still have had a love, an enjoyable moment with that person.
Oh, I feel my eyes watering up.
My friend, like, it's one of those situations where it's like, you can't, it's not simple.
It's not.
You can't have a clear answer of it all. And every single person's journey is different with trauma, with abuse. And that's why I will stand on a mountaintop saying, unless you've walked in those shoes, you don't know what it's like at all. And at the end of the day, Tasha, I've never walked in your shoes. You've never walked in my shoes. But what we can do by acknowledging this reality is say, hey, I can be here for you.
Yeah.
And I can support you. Right?
Absolutely. Wow. Theresa, when you was talking, it made me think of how I was so angry that I would never, ever, ever have a relationship with him. Like, what am I missing? That's the part that I am now working through, not to keep me in a place where I stay there. Because he right now is in a place where when I go visit him, he doesn't know who I am. He doesn't recognize me. But this is what made me so angry. Every time I went to go visit him, and I did this before I went on the TEDx stage, because my coach told me to work through it first. And that's what I did. But when I went to go visit him, he would always ask about my sister. Tell me, how ironic is that?
Yeah.
And I was so angry. I was like, but I'm the one who's visiting you.
Yeah.
She doesn't care anything about you because of what you done. This is what I'm saying to myself. And I'm like, okay, how can I get past this? How can I move past this?
Yeah.
But I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
I moved past it, and I just accepted the fact that this will never be.
Oh man, you're such a huge demonstration of strength. But I'd also like to point out, it's like it's not like a one and done. Like it took years for you to get to this point. And I'm sure, similar to me, I'm sure you feel like you take 5 steps forward, 2 steps back at times.
Yes. For a long time, I felt like that I was in the same spot.
Yeah.
And not moving at all. Like no movement, like the same thing, same pattern all over again, until recently when I finally heard the story when my sister finished her book. And I thought about it, I said, so honestly, God was protecting me when he was absent because I didn't know the whole story. I just knew that he wasn't there. So that eventually, when I knew that, when that became, when I was aware of that, when that was revealed to me, I felt like I was moving. I was moving forward. I was not staying in the same place.
Yeah.
So that was another weight that was lifted off of me.
That's a good point, because you have different weights and sometimes you don't even know they're there.
Yeah.
Because you've been carrying them for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when your parents don't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
The famous phrase that screams secrecy, what goes on in this house stays in this house. Now, I would say that my mom was not like that. However, it was still difficult because of the era that she grew up in. That was the phrase that was always spoken. What goes on in this house stays in this house. Don't talk about it. Sweep it up under the rug.
Don't air your dirty laundry.
Yes.
Yep.
Don't air it. And now that I'm in this space where I share my story, I don't share it from a place of, oh, I don't like him, or, oh, I'm crying. No, I share it from a place of resilience, strength, power, confidence. And I always do this analogy. I say, well, I'm David, and he was Goliath. I have my slingshot, which is my story. I have my slingshot, and I just throw it. But every time I throw it, I'm not throwing it to say that, well, I hate that you ever did this. No, I throw it in a way where, oh, something is going to happen that's good. That I can move forward with.
Yeah. Every step you're taking now is not necessarily out of frustration, anger, or hate toward him. It's out of self-reflection, growth, and progress for you.
Yeah. And when I go visit him, it's been a few months, but when I go visit him, I feel good now when I leave. So when he closes his eyes, I'm okay.
Yeah. That's huge.
That's very huge.
And oh my goodness. And then I'm just thinking some of my clients that are, leaving their abusive situation as we speak, or thinking about it, or say they just left, and I feel it. I hear it in their voices. He's a narcissist, or she'll never change. And I will say this. Change is the only certainty we have in life.
Yeah.
That and taxes and death. But, change is one of the only certainties we have in life.
Yep.
And people will change. That doesn't mean you have to have a close relationship with them, right? That doesn't mean you need to be besties at any point in the future. But part of that relationship is internal, not just external with that person. And the hope is, one day that you find that internal strength and walk and be able to stand up and walk forward and from it.
Yeah. And I believe that's why I'm able to forgive husband number one and husband number two. Because I forgave my father.
So the ripple effect?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how I was able to do that.
Yeah.
I don't hate any of them. I have forgiven them. I have moved on. I actually, when I talk about it in a way where I'm actually uplifting them in a way.
Yeah.
Because it could be the same with husband number one and number two. They probably didn't have a parental role model either.
And isn't this how we break this cycle?
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
By talking about it, by airing all the dirty laundry, and then going out and speaking about it.
Yes, without that fear and that shame and that embarrassment and that guilt attached to it.
Yeah.
Because if you still have that attached to it, you won't open up your mouth. It's going to stay closed.
Yeah.
For a long time.
And that hate will just simmer within, and it'll keep you closed off. And in a way, I do think my own hate that I had kept me so closed that I never dated. Like I was so, and go one step further, then became a litigation attorney. Right.
Yeah.
Talk about rechanneling things. But
I'm rechanneling a whole. For me, it's like I get so passionate about when I talk about it.
Yeah.
And I'll preface this. I'll say, I'm not on here to bash anybody. I'm not on here to say anything negative about what they did. I'm here to encourage you, to inspire you by sharing you how I moved through it so that you can move through it differently and not be angry.
Yeah.
But it's going to take some time because I'm saying this a lot lately. Healing does not have to be difficult. It just has to be honest.
Yep.
And that's what I'm going to live by until I can't no more.
Yeah.
I'm going to live by that.
And the only way to the other side is through.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And now I will say this. When I started this healing journey, when I took that class, when I stepped through that door, I had no idea all of this that's happened in a year's time. All of this has happened. The forgiveness. Even I started out crying. I said a few non-Sunday school words, a lot of them, a lot of anger pages.
Yeah.
But once I got through that, it became more easier and easier because I was honest.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Tasha, why did you choose this man?
Yeah.
Because this.
That's huge. It's interesting. So I don't know if I've told you this, but I meditate. And so some of my meditations do have like a learning component from different teachers. And I have learned, and I know I do not have the source of it. I will research it more for the next episode, right? But there's a saying. And the saying is that there is a difference between pain and suffering. Pain, unfortunately, is rarely optional. But suffering is optional. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're struck with an arrow, right? That's painful.
Yes.
But if you simmer in that pain from that arrow, if you dwell on it, if you don't get help, if you don't take the arrow out, get some, rubbing alcohol and a bandage, right?
Yeah.
And you continue to suffer with that arrow, that's on you.
Yep.
That's not on whoever shot that arrow.
Yeah. Because guess what? It's a choice.
It's a choice to get that arrow out.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
And sometimes we gotta look in the mirror and be like, am I voluntarily choosing suffering, or is this actually pain being inflicted upon me?
That's powerful that you said that, Theresa, because now with you explaining it that way, suffering being the choice, it's the option that you have. Either you're going to, like you said, either you're going to let that arrow stay there or you're going to take it out. That's going to hurt when you take it out.
Oh, it sure is. It can be real painful when you take it out.
It's going to hurt when you take it out.
Yeah.
But it's going to hurt more if you leave it in.
Yep.
And you, like you said, I love
Never
that.
deal with it. Yeah. So let's bring us back to your work with in schools, because I'm sure you're already like gleaming. You're like love doing that type of work. So what are like some of the different topics you touch on when you go to the kids?
We basically talk about the signs, the types, the 6 types.
Okay.
Normally when you walk into a 8th grade room, they're rowdy. Some of them are quiet. And when I first did it, I presented with a 9th grade class first. That was a little awkward for me. Why? Because they're more rowdy. They don't want to listen. So what I had to do was I had to introduce myself first and tell them a little bit about me and my story to let them know I'm not just a person that sat behind a desk that learned the information that I'm getting ready to share with you. I actually lived it. Once I did that, I could see their body language like relax a little bit. So when I began to share with them the topics, like the 6 types, how to support their friend if they're going through something. And I tell them these 3 things. I said, there's 3 things that you can always do when your friend or even a family member is going through something. You'll know the signs when they come and talk to you about it. I said, the first thing you need to do is listen. I said, always listen. I said, don't ever say, oh, if that was me. I said, because when you say that, that's going to make them stay where they are.
Yeah.
So I said, the second thing is that you support them no matter what. I said, this 3rd thing, I said, it's major. I said, be quiet.
Yep.
I say, listen, support, and be quiet. I said, those are the 3 things that you can do to help your friend. And one student said, well, why, Miss Tasha? Like, why can't, I said, because remember I told you I was in it. So I would hear, well, if I was you, I wouldn't have done that.
You're just alienating.
Yes.
That's all you're doing. And that's huge, because that's how we work with our domestic violence victims and survivors as well, where we have tools to help.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you gotta listen and shut up first.
Yes.
You know? Like, just
Yes.
listen. And guess what? It may not be logical to you. It may be not what you would have done. It's not about you.
Right.
Right?
Right. Please.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
And don't tell them what. It's like when you say that,
Yeah.
it really agitates.
It sure does.
And because they're already dealing with a lot of frustration.
Yep.
The
Girlfriend.
stress.
Look, so I went, who was it? I think I was 11 the first time my mom tried therapy for me. Utter failure. And I feel for this therapist, because it was a nonprofit. I know this is probably her first gig out of school. And there is this chump of an 11-year-old, meaning me. And I remember her saying, I understand what you're going through. And I lost it, Tasha. I honestly got a lot. My mom, look, I was raised a Catholic Puerto Rican girl. You do not curse. You do not do any of that. Raise your voice, all that stuff. And I cursed and I raised my voice. And I was like, who are you to say you understand what I have been through? You have not slept in my bed. You have not been beaten by my father. You have not experienced what I'm going through. And I remember saying, how dare you think you can understand what I've been through?
Wow.
And it's funny because apparently, like, there was a hustle, and my mom's like, "Oh yeah, shouldn't have done that," and blah blah. But it was just, and I didn't go back to that therapist again. My apologies if she's out there listening to this. I was 11 years old, but it's just one of those situations where it's like you can't, but that's okay too.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can't truly understand what someone is going through, but you can. To your point, you can listen.
Yes. Please.
You can be there for them.
Please. That's the best thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing.
That's it. Because when it's one thing to be told, hey, you're not alone. It's another thing to be shown it. So, girl, I told you, we got a vibe.
Yes. Yes. Showing it. Because when you show a person what the words that's coming out of your mouth is not going to be as powerful as you seeing it.
Yep.
That's amazing.
So we could talk all day, Tasha.
Yeah.
But I want to say thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
Talking your story and going out there and helping the kids too, those rowdy 8th and 9th graders, to learn more about, indications of dating violence. And if we can stop the cycle as early as possible, even better.
Yep. Even better.
Yeah.
Even better. Yes. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here and to share and talk and get to see you
and
again.
Get to hang out.
Yes.
Well, until next time, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to our discussion. To learn more about me and the Modern Legal team, go to our website, modernlegalnc.com, or check out the links in our show notes to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You can also call us at 704-286-6302. If you have been intrigued by the conversation and would like us to continue our discussions, please subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. See you next time.